Anti-Afro Svengalis, I want you to hear this clip that's going to set up the commentary for this video. So stay tuned and I will return.
I'm not saying I have a perfect record and I have a perfect history when it comes to just my siblings and just how I've engaged as a human being, especially at 18 years old. But there's no history. There is no police officers pulling up because my mother called the police on me.
Oh my God!
For punching any one of my siblings or cousins or anybody in my family. I, Officer Bates, responded to the address on a call of a disorder. Upon arrival, the caller advised that her 18-year-old son, Remix, Way Life, hit her 8-year-old son in the eye. Not even in the backside, because that's softer, but the eye, he could take his eye out. Such and such advised that his older brother, Remix, Way Life, got mad about the younger brother toys
on the ground,
being on the floor and hit the 8-year-old in his left eye with his closed right fist. Wow. He could have slapped him, but he punched him with his closed right fist. And he might be right-handed, so I mean that was his strong hand. I observed the young man, the young boy, left eye was slightly swollen. Remix ran out the back. As soon as she called the police, he did the dash. He ran. He was like, oh, shoot, the cops are coming. Let me get on out of here. Let me run. This is the cops' words. The cops said the man ran. From the po. He didn't stand on business. So his eye was slightly swollen. Remix ran out the back door as soon as she called the police, and he was not on the scene. Upon my arrival, mother stated that she heard Remix hit his younger brother, and when she confronted Remix about it, he admitted to hitting Derek. Mother stated that Remix has been out of her control lately, and that she did wish to prosecute Remix. Wow. He got to hold this L.
Well, there's one thing. I was always telling the Al Show to reserve judgment because we didn't have any facts. Because he used to call him a criminal, and I used to get upset. I said, you really shouldn't be doing that because we don't have proof. Now we have proof.
But you're saying, well, there's things that he did in 2018. And until I see that, I'm going to just say, okay.
That's what Kip was trying to talk to you about.
It's one thing if the siblings were more closer in age, but a 10-year gap.
Right.
I mean, that's a bully. That's brutality.
I agree.
Punching a 16-year-old. He's 8 years old. 8?
Right. And just think about all the things that he says about people. And he always is saying things like to Kip, your son, your son, your son, which I really don't understand that because the son is not here talking to Remix. Kip is talking to Remix. Shouldn't it be you're comparing yourself versus I'm going to bring your relative in?
Yeah, they ain't going to be able to dox me and find some goofy shit like this. I mean, these people are straight goofy. At 18 years old, you punching on a little ass baby and your own brother at that? There ain't shit he can say to just masquerade this bullshit.
Before I get into what Photon said, let's go back a few months ago when the B Sector Remix tried in vain to sell train tickets to a fake beef. Word is they even paid Dumpsy D. Durrell for some dead-ass emails with nothing there. Nothing I would ever give any shits about being made public. Now, there was great disappointment, I'm sure. because the B Sector Reject made a big deal about praising me, AFW friends and supporters, how much they stand by him, how much they rock with him, and all of that stuff, right? Likewise, we showed remix support. So he really was expecting, as were other subjects, some huge reaction from me, AFW friends and supporters, when he suddenly decided to sell these tickets to a fake beef. Disappointing, I'm sure it was. I made it very clear, I'm not buying any tickets to a fake beef. I'm not providing any fuel or meals for a fake beef. Ride along if you want to. I will not be joining you. And I said, if I had a reason to speak on Remix, I'll speak on him. And I have a reason now, so I'm speaking on him. I did make a few things clear because there was an inquiry with Photon. And as a courtesy, I simply let Photon know there was no incident. I am not going to sit here and argue and fuss and fight over something that never happened. That was a fake beef, ulterior motives. Go for it. I'm just not going to be involved. I also did clear up a couple of lies. I wasn't addressing the quote merits of the fake beef to carry it on. I just made it clear Remix is the kind of dude who wants women to chase him so he can come back and have some sort of bragging rights. So he tried that, and that's when I said something. There would be evidence if I chased after Remix. I'm not Nikki Proctor Walden, and I'm not Carrie Ann or whoever else he wants to have a perception or running after him. He decided to do what he did. He did what he did. There was no reason for me to say anything about it. If Remix didn't care, then I don't care. I just follow suit. However, anyone else chooses to look at it by saying, oh my God, they were so tight, they were so close. That is something you need to address with Remix, because I was not the moving party. No one that he attacked was the moving party. That is all on him. And as far as this notion of somewhere to go, that concept doesn't apply to me, doesn't apply to AFW friends or supporters. This is not how we've ever moved in these YouTube streets. We don't, quote, need a place to go. Let me tell you who needs a place to go. It would be someone who jumps up and runs and hangs around those who said he beat his mother. Remix has been accused of beating his mother, and that accusation bothers him greatly. However, he runs and is hanging around those who are spreading the rumor. Whoever spread the rumor, whether it was Antonio Barnes or that no jumper dude, the rumor was put out there. And those who came after Remix continuously used that claim, and it upset him greatly. But he's in their chats. He's rocking with them. So what? That's what he is doing. That has nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me at all. I don't care if he goes and rocks with those who accuse him of beating his mom. So let's dovetail into what you heard Photon saying.
He was out of control. He wasn't willing to really be obedient or listen. I guess the whoopings weren't enough. I mean, he's 18. Maybe she was afraid if she whooped him, he may whoop back.
Well, if Remix is willing to hurt his mother emotionally, he's certainly willing to hurt her physically, because that's where abuse starts, emotionally. You just don't haul off and start hitting someone. That's not the cycle. So I think Photon is right. You're not going to discipline an 18-year-old physically. You know what's going to happen. In all likelihood, you're going to get a return hit, or you might even get an initiated hit by the one who's aggressive. The mom felt she couldn't control the situation, so she called the police. If a parent is unable to protect their own child, there's where you have CPS intervention. That puts you at risk for having your child removed from you, which I'm sure they were called. But when CPS is called, you'd be surprised of how quickly families will close rank and deny everything. But If there's an issue with the validity of this scenario, you should take it up with the Chattanooga Police Department or the Hamilton County courthouse system. This isn't a record that was generated by Kip. This is a record that was documented at that point in time. But don't forget, Remix is the one jumping on panels and running over to chats and hanging out with those who accused him of beating his own mom. Again, that is on him. That's what he wants to do. Go for it. That decision has no skin off my back. No matter what Remix says, no matter what lies he comes up with, no matter how many times he claims he has these emails, all Remix did is what he's always done. Lied about having receipts, getting money and not giving the receipts. What else is new? I don't see anything new in the scenario. No one in these YouTube streets contacted the Chattanooga Police Department. It was Remix's mother who contacted the Chattanooga Police Department. This calls into question another claim that Remix has made many times. He says that he is the caregiver for his mother and he's responsible for her finances. Given the additional information, it's even more implausible that this is a reality. Because look at the background. If he's going to be in a situation where he is an official caregiver, he would be ineligible based on his criminal background. Also, think about the mother. What she went through. She witnessed Remix wailing on her 8-year-old who's 10 years younger. And you think that's the only time he did that? So he's going to end up being her caretaker? No, there will be a lot of stops put in place before there was ever any consideration that Remix could pull something off like this. I think another relative is in the role. And what we see here is guilt being communicated to us. Pretending. Here we go again, folks. People using their true life situations, then modifying them when they come to YouTube. I think guilt is weighing in about how he gave his mother all this grief, so he's saying to us that he's her caregiver. I don't buy it, especially after these revelations. Come on, people. Remix would be the only option within that family or within social services. He would be the only option. Anyone out there who doesn't know this, I'm here to tell you. Violence is perpetrated because the aggressor perceives there to be an advantage, vulnerability, and opportunity. It doesn't even matter whether or not you use a weapon. The person who's perpetrating the violence perceives success because those two elements exist. Vulnerability and opportunity. Think about it. Remix is going to be a caregiver for someone who cannot physically take care of herself. If you believe Remix's story, if you believe what he has said many times over, that his mother is totally dependent on other people, a vulnerable person, there will be opportunities to be aggressive, you think Remix would be picked out of everyone? And let me take it a step further. Do we even know this is true? Because when he fell out with KKC was spilling beans and putting emails out there. He said that Remix told him he wasn't able to get back to him because his grandmother was sick and they had to take care of her. The same scenarios that he floats about the so-called grandmother changed over to mother. But it's essentially the same thing he was telling KKC, but he changed the relationship. Then he responded to KKC putting out those emails saying that he lied to KKC. He just wanted to shut him up and let him know he didn't have time for him, and he made up the story. When it comes down to the nitty-gritty, it's up to everyone out there to make a decision, if you even give a shit, about whether any of this is true. What Remix says about his mother. We don't have documentation for that. What we do have documentation is Remix balling up his fist and cold cocking an 8-year-old who is 10 years younger, his own brother, when Remix was a chronological adult male. We're talking about guilt. all the grief he heaped upon his mother, because you know this shit was going on when he was a juvenile. All the grief he heaped upon his mom, it's guilt by claiming he's her caretaker. He's telling us this. I don't buy that. Especially looking at all these documents, it's implausible. I don't believe he's the caregiver. And I certainly don't believe he has control over her finances. Now, I do have a reason to talk about Remix. When Kip went and got the information, now it's a different ballgame. That other shit, I was not going to get involved with the fake beef. Now, I am going to comment on the fact that Remix has run around making all kinds of claims about other people. No one can sit here and tell me they don't recall all the allegations, all the judgments, all the character attacks on other people, no matter who they are, no matter what the reason. Remix feels he has a right to speak on it and say whatever he wants about it. But we also know that if and when anything about him becomes known, or anyone has an opinion or a view, call the cavalry. The sky is falling. When I have people that I'm cool with, I don't start trouble with people that I'm cool with. If someone's going to start trouble with me, that is something you need to address with that subject. So the claim about me being afraid, what do I have a reason to be afraid for? There was no reason to speak on anything. I'm speaking now. All of the claims about people and what they supposedly do to children, Remix is not in a position to make any kind of claims or criticisms. Even his criticisms of Dempsey's wife are null and void. Yes, she beat the shit out of their kid, but he beat the shit out of his own brother. Family violence is family violence. None of it is good. It's equally destructive on so many levels for so many reasons. But this is something he felt would never come to light, and it came to light. He expected everyone else to answer questions and clarify things and explain what the hell they did and why. Is he going to do the same? We know the answer is no. What he's going to do, which he is doing, is lying. Who was a liar? Take it up with Hamilton County. This information is documented in police reports. And what have we heard Remix say many times over? I'm not convicted. Well, whether he's been convicted or not of any of these crimes, you can get with Kip, because he's going to be continuing this series, if you will, and giving the details. But think about whether or not Remix thought it was relevant whether other people were actually formally convicted of a crime that they were accused of. He didn't care about that. He spoke on it. He considered them guilty. So he's to be considered innocent if, and I say if, he hasn't been convicted of any of these crimes. And I'll just tell you right up front, he was convicted of some of these crimes. It doesn't matter, because whether somebody was convicted of a crime in the past, Remix didn't care. He spoke on it as if it was truth. He's also leveled accusations or signed on to accusations that were leveled against others where there was no law enforcement intervention. There was no proof of any such crime. He felt he had a right to say it's true. So I don't know where Remix gets off thinking he deserves a special pass. People get to operate their minds in any way they choose. If they choose to consider him guilty based on the narratives that were put forth in these police reports, whether or not any given accusation or police report resulted in a conviction, it's up to whoever. Just like Remix took the initiative to decide for himself, other people have the right to decide for themselves whether they think this is true or any of the reports are true. Based on what is in the reports and what Remix says, there is a very strong strain of hypocrisy. The reports are total opposite of what he claims to be in these YouTube streets. In these YouTube streets, he's always talking about whipping some dude's ass. I didn't see any reports or any court records where he was jumping on any men. It's women and children. So right there's a very strong strain of hypocrisy running through the whole scene. Most important, emphasize this: just because somebody was charged with a crime doesn't mean they actually committed the crime. This is true. But did Remix give anybody else this consideration? No. He only insisted the consideration be given to him. I think the most bizarre situation that occurs in this scenario is Remix running to curry favor with those who can't stand him, who accuse him of beating his mother over and over again. I'm not responsible for the way any of these subjects are carrying on. I'm not responsible for Remix and his decisions or anyone else's. I take care of myself. I'm concerned about me and those who care about me. If someone decides they want to fly to the wind, kick me to the curb, or whatever they want to say, how they want to couch it. They love to say they kicked me to the curb. They dumped. Fine, dump me. Dump me good. But they keep talking about me. They keep sending me messages. They have my name in their mouth. Same goes for any other AFW friends and supporters. It's a ploy. I'm just not going to get down with it. I'm sticking to the facts. I'm sticking to documentation. And if I want to give my opinion, I'll give my opinion. But I'm not going to participate. I'm not going to react to. I'm not going to get caught up in any fake beefs. Those subjects, Remix and all those other fools saying he beat up his mom, he can hang out with them. If someone else decides to move about and have no respect for themselves, that is on them, not me. Don't look to me to solve a mystery as to why anybody is going to not respect themselves and act a fool and try to go about these YouTube streams with fake beefs. It's not my riddle to solve. I don't care anything about it. I'm only going to get involved and take action when lines are crossed. Now, if I want to make a comment on something, I'll make a comment on it. But it's not going to be fake beefs. In Remix or all these other subjects want females who don't respect themselves, who are constantly putting themselves in compromising positions, who chase after dudes. Go hook up with them. Go get them involved in a repeat cycle. They're the ones who feel deprived. They all feel deprived when they don't have this dynamic. So there's plenty of females in that Umar Johnson sector, like Nikki Proctor Walden and Carrie Ann and so many others who would love to interact and engage in destructive cycles. There are plenty of females in that Umar Johnson sector who have no respect for themselves, who will let you take them on all kinds of roller coaster rides, will let you dog them out time and time again. They'll chase you around. They'll do all that shit. You have that ready for you. It's there. You're not going to get it out of me. I move on. It's easier for me to move on. I'm not rocking with someone. I'm not dealing with someone. I don't interact with them. I don't interact with them. And I don't give a crap what they have to say about me, including all of these terms they want to come up with. I think it's hilarious. Coming up with the term, what is the crazy? That's what they say. Oh my goodness. Look at these papers. You think I'm going to give a shit about somebody with a record like this calling me crazy? You think I'm going to care about somebody who gets fired and their ass gets on the news? Your ass is on the news because of the shit you did on YouTube with your job and you got fired. You don't give a crap about somebody calling me crazy or any of these other freaks who cannot exist unless they are taking an inordinate amount of dangerous drugs and drinking alcohol 24/7. That's how they consider themselves rational and clear thinking and love to call other people names. Call me names. It's not going to make any difference. It's not going to stick. It sticks only for yourself because you know it applies to yourself. Listen, folks, you know I got more coming your way. In the meantime, buyer beware.